Today, we're going to be continuing with our Go Frontline rundown of the current events, Longitudinal Strain, where last week we have, in fact, sort of kind of finished the event, though there is still a bunch of stuff left to do. So let me just unmute the game and go right in. Because there's still a whole bunch of post-story stuff, and while I don't think it's gonna run us through 2 streams, so tomorrow will probably be something else, I'm gonna keep my schedule as it is at the moment, simply because of the reason that I don't know whether or not we'll be done today. And if we are done today, I'm gonna have to think of something else to do tomorrow. Now, as you can see, there's still... This doesn't actually count, this is the ranking map. I don't think this counts because it's also combat maps. But we have a bunch of stories still left to do. I'm just gonna go back to normal, because that should actually update it properly and tell us more accurately what we've actually done. Okay. Now, where we stopped last week is on this woman. So let's go and continue where we left off, which is last week she shot her husband in the past to join a gang. A Russian gang. Several months later, in an abandoned underground clinic in the Yellow Zone, the sound of a newborn's cry echoes through the hallways, bringing the hope of a new life to the clinic that has long been filled with wails of misery and suffering. On the sickbed, a woman in black opens her eyes as her strength returns. She sits up on the bed. Madam, God has blessed you with a healthy baby boy. The doctor all smiles and carefully delivers the baby into his mother's arms. Surprisingly enough, the woman in black does not rejoice or cry as expected. Instead, she simply glances at the baby with cold eyes, and her brow furrows in frustration. The child bears quite a strong resemblance to the Gleb. Even the birthmark on his chest is the same. Send him to 13th Street. Don't you wish to look at your son? This is not a blessing from God, but a curse. Do as I say, or he will bring great misfortune upon you. The baby in her arms seems to sense his mother's indifference and cries loudly. However, the woman in black does not spare an ounce of pity and slowly struggles to rise from the bed. She trudges out of the clinic one step at a time. Sakarov's choice is a good one. Just a few months after Valeria joins the Vori, she had settled several gang feuds with unprecedented force and removed many obstacles for the Vori. However, Valeria has been taking more and more leaves of absence within the past month, and Sakharov started to grow suspicious. She knows that she must not waste too much time on trivial matter. She has to regain Sakharov's trust at today's meeting. Good afternoon, my dear Valusha. Valeria enters the room and sees Sakharov turning from the window. His face is all smiles. He is holding a newborn baby in his arms. Valeria's eyes go wide. The birthmark on the baby is... Let's see. Valeria nods and walks up to Sakharov. She glances coldly at the baby that is sound asleep. He looks very cute, doesn't he? This is a life that should never have existed. Please permit me to eliminate it without delay. Sakharov sizes up Valeria, but he does not see a single ripple in her eyes. He sighs inwardly, and then orders someone to have the baby taken out. Have a seat, dear Valyusha. Sakharov's face is gentle and kind, but also commanding. Valeria has no choice but to sit down with him, staring deeply into those unreadable, gleaming eyes. You see, this is what happened last night. Satan came into my dream and gave me a great prophecy. He told me that today I would receive an adopted child with blood ties to the next leader of the Vori. Otherwise, ill fortune would befall me. I do not understand. Valyusha, do you not think that all this is fate? In my heart, you are the one in whom I have the most faith, and Satan has given me a dream, while you have been given a son today. Clearly, it is a sign that this child should not be killed, but that I should adopt him as a son. But the Vori must forsake all family. Relax. Everyone who knows about this has been eliminated. Right now, only you and I know the true identity of this child. Valeria frowns slightly and considers Sakharov's words. Going against him now would not be wise. Plus, the Vori are all devout Satan worshippers, and they will not allow Valeria to deny his prophecy. I do not care if the child lives or dies. But if Satan wills it and if you insist, then I shall abide by your decision. Very good, very good. Zakharov smiles warmly and gently squeezes Valeria's hand. I've decided. His name will be Nikolai. From now onwards, I will declare Nikolai my adopted son. He will grow up happily by my side and will be none of your concern. In the devil's name, Nikolai will bear witness to the great agreement between us. Valeria nods in gratitude and kisses Zakharov's hands. Then she leaves the room as the chief financier favors her with a warm, caring look. What a ruthless woman she is. Gloominess suddenly creeps across Zakharov's face. Avor enters the room holding the baby and bows politely to Zakharov. Why did you not kill that woman if you were wary of her? Could have... The status now makes her untouchable. Besides, organization needs her. Only as someone as ruthless as her can lead the Vori to the rule of the Yellow Zone. Unfortunately, I am old, and if she decides to do something out of line, I need some kind of leverage to feel at ease. Bakan, you don't have to worry. We'll do our best to protect you no matter what she's scheming. What can you do? Zakharov smiles gently, but he doesn't bother hiding the mockery in his words. The Vor bows his head as he realizes his impotence. I think I understand what Gleb was trying to do, and it even makes sense. People without weaknesses are the most frightening, and given how perfect and how powerful Valeria is, we have no choice but to create a weakness in her. Isn't that right, little Nikolai? Nikolai giggles in Zakharov's arms. An innocent, pure and endearing angel. I see. Then I had a thunder tattooed on my collarbone to commemorate this child. He has become my Achilles heel. Who would have thought? Well, let's go for Nikolai next then. Because why not? In a bar in the Sakharov administrative region. A party to celebrate the newcomer's initiation is currently in full swing. Daniel straightens the creases on his suit and joins the bustling crowd. On the surface, this is just a simple Vori Visa Cone cocktail party for welcoming new members. But Daniel knows that it's also an opportunity for the new member to approach the senior Vor that they want to follow. Daniel sips his champagne nervously as he scans the crowd of chattering partygoers. Other than Baba Luba, all the campers are present. Daniel's gaze wanders from one kappa to another, but it's hard to tell who will make a worthy mentor just from overhearing a word or two. While he's hovering hesitantly, his attention is drawn to a peculiar man who stands out in the crowd. He doesn't look very approachable. Should I try to introduce myself? The man is leaning against the bar counter, slowly swirling his glass of red wine. In a sea of casually dressed Vori, his immaculate suit stands out. It's classic, but not passé. The materials look obviously lush and expensive even in the dim light. More importantly, everyone who passes by takes the initiative to greet him, but no one dares to stop and make conversation with him. Daniel listens carefully and manages to find out that the man is called Nikolai. Hello, Mr. Nikolai. I am Daniel, a new Vor. Please forgive me for intruding on you. Daniel? Yes, sir. Nikolai puts down his glass and looks at Daniel with a raised eyebrow. How can I help you? Daniel swallows nervously. Nikolai's bearing is completely unlike the other Vori, so it's obvious that he cannot talk to him in the same manner as he talks to others. Pardon my impudence, sir. I've just been initiated as a Vor, and I'm feeling a little lost about my future. I would be incredibly grateful if you could give me some pointers. Nikolai smiles. He takes out a cigar case from his inner breast pocket and cuts away the tip of the cigar. Daniel offers his light and reverently lights the cigar. What kind of errands would you be out for? I'm happy to complete any tasks for you. Very well. I'm currently putting together a new project. Nikolai takes a light puff from a cigar, savoring its fresh aroma. Report to my office tomorrow morning. Thank you, sir. Nikolai gives Daniel his card with a smirk, then disappears from the party. Daniel reads the card. Nikolai Vasilievich. Dear Lord, isn't he the legendary Mr. Sakharov's adopted son? Yes. Daniel's giddy with joy, but little does he know this will be the most regrettable decision he has ever made in his life. One morning 3 months later. In warehouse 7 of the Vorivisa con. Following Nikolai's instructions, Daniel parks his cargo van just off the Ulitsava highway. Mr. Nikolai, are we really doing this? Are you questioning me? I just remembered hearing from others that Baba Luba is saving these goods for our clients. I know, but that client has already fled the country and is unlikely to ever come back. Rather than letting the goods rot inside a warehouse, we should sell them off to people who have better use for them. Nikolai opens the warehouse door. Daniel looks at the weapons and ammunition stored within them and Nikolai. And then at Nikolai. What are you looking at me for? I didn't ask you to come and watch me haul the stuff, you know. Daniel starts loading the crates into the back of the van. Nikolai can probably tell that Daniel isn't too happy. He walks up to his side. When we're done with this job, I'll ask Baba Luba to promote you to the cadre. Thank you, Mr. Nikolai. After all, you're now my most trusted henchman. After giving Daniel a quick pat on the shoulder, Nikolai strolls off to smoke. Once Nikolai is out of sight, Daniel lets out a gloomy sigh. It's only been 3 months since the initiation party, but out of 7 new members that Nikolai has taken under his wing, he is the only one left. 3 decided to quit after multiple injuries, 2 died in a fire that Nikolai and a few other capos started because of some very stupid reason, 1 committed suicide after he was made to take the blame for Nikolai's crimes, and 1 got arrested by the police because Nikolai got the pickup time wrong. Wow. Daniel only found out recently that his mentor is known as good-for-nothing Nikolai among the Vori. Mr. Nikolai, I don't know if you're actually good for nothing, but your luck really is rotten. I feel sorry for you from the bottom of my heart, but I've got to think ahead of my own future. After loading the final crates, Donald starts the truck's engine with a heavy heart. The next day, outside Baba Luba's office. As Daniel waits anxiously outside the door, you can clearly hear every single word of the fierce argument, even through the thick walls and door. I knew it. We just sold off the goods that had been sitting in the warehouse for 5 years, then the original buyer came looking for them. Every single time. Daniel sighs again. Nikolai kicks the door open and storms out. I'm telling you, I'm not useless, I'm just fucking unlucky. Always dragged down by incompetent subordinates or fucking bad timing. Could do great things if we're just given some good men. Stop looking at me like I'm dirt. I've had enough. Nikolai smashes an exquisite decor piece in the hallway like a madman. Baba Luba simply watches him coldly from a wheelchair. Mr. Nikolai. Don't stop him. Let him have his tantrum. Fucking done. I'm walking out right now. Just you wait. One of these days I'll do something great. I'll show you. Nikolai keeps shouting as he disappears down the hallway. Baba Luba waves her hand and signals to her subordinate to push her away. After weighing his options, Daniel steps into Baba Luba's path. Apologies, Baba Luba. There's something I'd like to report. Go on. About the consignment. I didn't follow Mr. Nikolai's instructions to deliver them to the new buyer. Baba Luba looks up at Daniel. I know insubordination is against the rules, but I believe selling the goods without your permission is even worse. So I took the initiative and extended the consignment periods. The goods are currently still in warehouse 13. Very well. Thank you for your understanding. I'll transport the goods back to the original warehouse shortly. I will also explain the situation to the new buyer. With a nod, Baba Luba also leaves the hallway. Her response may seem indifferent, but Daniel knows that he has made a pretty good impression. A year later, in a bar in the Sakharov administrative region. A party to celebrate the newcomer's initiation is currently in full swing. Leaning against the bar counter, Daniel puffs a mouthful of smoke. He scans the group of excited new members absent-mindedly trying to find him. A newcomer known as the King of Smuggling has recently come to talk of the town, and Baba Luba has made a point of inviting this man to the party tonight. It's already been 15 minutes. A King of Smuggling or not, no one has ever dared to show up late for an appointment on Baba Luba's turf. Just then, 15 minutes into the celebration, the door to the bar opens. He's got some gall to show up at all. There's nothing Baba Luba hates more than people who don't show up on time. Daniel shifts his weight and starts watching the latecomer with his figurative popcorn out. A suited man with not a single hair out of place strides into the bar. All the Thori gape at the sight of him. What? That's... Ignoring the gobsmacked crowd, he casually strolls down the stairs and makes a beeline for Baba Luba. It's been a while, Baba Luba. Nikolai sits down jauntily opposite Baba Luba, gemstones of the size of pigeon eggs glimmering on his fingers. I'm the one who you've been waiting for. So he's become an absolute smuggling lord then, I guess. That is sort of impressive considering that he was considered incompetent. But, let's go. At a charity ball 10 months ago. Extravagantly dressed guests mill around the venue. Wine glasses clink and glisten in the light, forming a lively and bustling scene. Nikolai takes to mingling with the crowd like a duck to water. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It is my honor to announce that the charity auction will now officially begin. A wave of applause erupts. Nikolai claps his hand nonchalantly as he scans the crowd for a potential target. Our first item is Archive Kinsman's Moonlit Night on the Dnieper, supplied by the Tequila Gallery. The handler, Miss Maggie Ponzi, has provided the following instruction. Under the darkness of the night sky, the river glows eerily in the moonlight. Even the night clouds around the full moon are tinged in the delicate light. And the masterful use of negative space is extremely effective in depicting the tranquility of the scene. Nikolai's champagne flute freezes even as the auctioneer prattles on. After a moment of thought, his features gradually shift from an expression of shock to a nefarious grin. Well, 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 this is the best thing that has happened to me since I left Devori. In the crowded hallway outside the venue of the ball, the representative from the Tequila Gallery, Maggie, is conversing with the prospective buyers enthusiastically. Swallowing the champagne in his flute, Nikolai strolls up to Maggie casually. Moonlight Night on the Dnieper. This famous painting has been lost for a very long time. Indeed. We only managed to find it after a great deal of investigation and with no small amount of effort. Hey, Classic. How are you doing? How was Raid? How was Raid? Was? I don't know. Raid was okay? I see. Did you decide to drop the ultimate? Really? Was it too much stress, or what? That's unexpected, to be honest. You didn't have fun? That is fair. That is entirely fair. In the end, fun is still the most important thing in those kind of things. I'd still love to do an ultimate eventually. Time is a bitch. Still. Like, if you want to, we can talk about it later, or you can DM me about stuff that bothered you or something. If something bothered you. Maybe the group didn't merge well with you or something, I don't know. But hey. Yeah. For now, you can sit here and enjoy as I read through the last bits of the current Gods for Line event, I guess. And then tomorrow I'll probably have to think of something else to do. So I should probably have a lot of things lined up. Anyway. How may I address you, sir? The name is Nikolai Vasilievich. Just call me Nikolai. Nice to meet you, Mr. Nikolai. There will be an auction for this painting inside. If you're interested, make sure you don't miss it. I'm certainly intrigued by the painting, but unfortunately I have no intention of bidding for it. This is just a forgery. The enthusiastic chatter on Maggie instantly dies down. Maggie fights to maintain a composed smile. Got a sense of humor, Mr. Nikolai. This painting has been authenticated by multiple experts. There's absolutely no way it could be a forgery. But I have concrete evidence that proves otherwise. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Nikolai, do please show me your evidence. Maggie casually invites Nikolai to step aside for a private conversation. Nikolai goes along with it and follows her. Somewhere outside the venue. After making sure that no one else is around, Maggie comes to a stop. Mr. Nikolai, I don't know who invited you to the ball, but please refrain from making claims that could lead to misunderstandings. The Tequila Gallery would never invest in forgeries. Ha, really? Nikolai chuckled sardonically. I have seen the original of this painting. It was once hung in my father's study, but after the old man got bored with it, he resold it to a private collector from overseas. From what I know, that painting is still on display in the collector's living room. How unfortunate. After a brief moment of silence, Maggie flashes out a friendly smile. To think that this forgery managed to slip through all the authentication experts... The experts may be in on the deal. Well, I must thank you for your shrewdness. If it weren't for you, the painting would have fooled me too. So? According to the experts, this painting is practically identical to the original in every way. Whoever ends up purchasing it will still be getting the money's worth. How about this, Mr. Nikolai? I will pay you 20% of the painting's sold price as an authentication fee. 20%? Nikolai shakes his head with a smile. Maggie returns to smile through clenched teeth. You're right, some measly 20% is nowhere near enough to express our gratitude to you. 50%. I can't go any higher. Our gallery needs to turn a profit too. No. Nikolai shakes his head again. Forgive me for being blunt, but you are too short-sighted, Miss Maggie. Please do share your thoughts, Mr. Nikolai. I am happy to provide my authentication service for all the paintings sold through the Tequila Gallery and help you navigate human society. With my father's network, nobody will have any reason to doubt the authentication of the authenticity of the Tequila Gallery's paintings. In return, all I ask is 50% of the sold price of every transaction. Nikolai leans against the wall and lights a cigarette. Through the calling smoke, Maggie smiles. Then welcome aboard, Mr. Nikolai. Little does Maggie know, this will be the most regrettable decision she has ever made. Yeah, because she'll end up on this fucking train. 2 months ago, at a safe house. Maggie and Catherine are slumped on the floor, utterly exhausted while Quimby is going through their accounts anxiously. Mistress, the audacity of the scumbag. He messes up everything, but he still gets half the cut. Can't be helped, he's got dirt on us. Can't we just get rid of him? You think I haven't tried? He's a ghost that refuses to be exorcised. Maggie suddenly bolts up. What is it, Maggie? Suddenly thought of something. What? He may be gallivanting on his own, but he's backed up by a rich family. So? Maggie flashes a dangerous grin. Killing the goose only yields temporary profits. Sustainable development is the way to go. Don't tell me you... This could be our chance to snake our way into the upper echelons of society. The gloomy safe house is once again filled with cheerful laughter. And probably a mistake that you've made. Because you're fucking with the Russian mob. Present day. In a bar in the Sakharov administrative region, Nikolai recounts what he has gone through in the past year with spittles flying everywhere. Babaluba listens to him in silence from start to finish. Why didn't you say something, Babaluba? When he's finally done, Babaluba snorts contemptuously and signals for Daniel to push her away to get some rest. Hey, Daniel, long time no see. Mr. Nikolai, long time no see. As expected of my hand-picked henchman, look at you, already climbing your way up to being Babaluba's wheelchair pusher. I regret not being able to keep working for you. But things have been going well for me since I started working for Babaluba. At the very least, I haven't messed up any missions ever since. Well, isn't that wonderful? That pushes Babaluba away. Behind them, Nikolai is still talking enthusiastically to anyone who'd listen. Outside Babaluba's bedroom. Babaluba, who has remained silent the whole time, finally speaks. Daniel, what do you think? I believe Mr. Nikolai may have been caught in a scam. That is obvious. Would you like me to have a chat with this art collector, Miss Maggie, that you mentioned? Run a background check on her first. I've already ordered one when Mr. Nikolai brought her up. Daniel hands Babaluba a tablet reverently. She is anything but clean. A doll? Probably the Snickers and puts down the tablet. Well, that makes things simple. Understood. I'll bring a few men over tomorrow. The next day, at Jean's bar, Nikolai is standing in the messy bar in a bit of a daze. Maggie is a con woman? Impossible. I helped build up the Tequila Gallery's business. It's got all the legal paperwork. Then why don't you try and move the funds in your account? Nikolai brings up his account on his tablet, only to find that he cannot access the funds at all. Still working this morning. It must be past the bank's office hours. It'll be fine again tomorrow morning. I'm sorry for your loss, Mr. Nikolai. Daniel gives Nikolai a small bow and leads the Vori out of the bar. In the vast place, only Nikolai is sitting at the bar counter. The glass that Maggie drank out of has toppled over on the counter. He picks it up blankly. Maggie's lipstick stain is still on the glass. That woman. Has she been conning me from the get-go? Nikolai lets out a low chuckle at the empty bar. Well played, Maggie. You got me good. No one has ever managed to trick me. Press the glass up to his lips while quivering with laughter. What an interesting woman. We'll see you... Well, we'll see if you can do it again next time. Nikolai slumps over the counter. He's starting to look forward to his next encounter with Maggie. Wait, it's impossible. I did not get tricked. Okay. Well, guess we're gonna go with you next. Catherine. We're actually rapidly running out of stuff to read in this, unless there's even more. Day 173 since her awakening. She solemnly carves a notch onto the crumbling white wall using a playing card. Flakes of plaster dust her fingers and eventually land on the concrete floor. When she's done, she takes a step back to take in her handiwork. A notch that extends from the bottom of the wall up to about her own height. Training. She retracts her gaze and walks robotically over to the poker table. The schedule has been set for her every single day. She is not allowed to deviate from that schedule for even a second. A deck of playing cards flutters like butterflies in a scarred hands. Mistress, I'm ready. An AI hologram appears at the poker table. The hologram sits emotionlessly on a chair that stares attentively at the cards, but she knows that this AI exists to point out her mistakes. This is your final training simulation. If you pass, you will be allowed to participate in real games. The AI today has undergone a comprehensive upgrade and absorbed all the strategies of the most active card shops in recent years. Its skills are on a whole new level compared to before, so don't get careless. Understood. Then let's get started. Commencing training simulation 584. The dealer deals the cards to the AI and the doll. The AI's up card is the Ace of Diamonds, while hers is the King of Clubs. Opening with 3 million. The ante is 3,000. Opening with such a large bet means the AI has plenty of confidence. What is the sassy chippy version of MP40? It's not actually MP40, it's MP41. Close, but not quite. It's essentially a cheaper version of that gun. Oh, well, cheaper submachine gun to produce, rather. There we go. She peers at the down cards, King of Spades, forming a pair of kings. But if the AI is holding another ace, then... Fold. Showing my hands. The AI flips a down card, 3 of clubs. The hand would have been no match for her pair of kings. Another game. She looks up at the AI, who returns her gaze coldly. The AI's eyes are utterly unreadable. This is the first time she has failed to glean any information from the AI. The minutes tick by, and stack after stack of chips shifts from her side of the table to the AI's. She's feeling rather desperate. Every attempt to deceive the AI or to copy the AI's strategy is countered. In other words, she's at her wit's end. She peels up the corner of her down card and glances at the AI's up cards. I've lost. Her neurocloud is consumed by this thought. It's over. The AI reveals a down card. Ace of Hearts. A royal flush. Clatter. She's run out of chips. The AI disappears and a cold female voice speaks. You failed. Sorry, I should have practiced more. You will return to the original training program starting from tomorrow. Understood. I will not disappoint you again, mistress. Day 231 since her awakening. She solemnly casts a notch into the crumbling white wall using a playing card and stares at it for a long time. Today, she is given a second chance to prove herself. Mistress, I am ready. No answer comes in the silent basement. She shuffles the deck of cards, and the butterfly dances once more in her hands. There won't be any training today. There's a tightening in the chest, and all the cards fall all over the floor. What? Why? The metal door of the basement opens. Come out, I have other plans for you. She stares at the exit that she has never dared to approach, not with anticipation, but with terror. Tension fills the air as she walks towards the exit with heavy steps. The mistress is leaning against the wall, a cigarette glowing softly between her fingers. There, that's the one. In the great hall is a man in a recycling worker's uniform. He is looking up and down, trying to come up with a valuation. Mistress, please give me another chance. I've told you, stop calling me mistress. Call me Miss Catherine. I'm sorry, Miss Catherine. Please give me another chance. You've already done very well. Let me play against the AI again. I'm confident that I can beat her this time. Miss Catherine does not answer. She simply gives her a pitying smile while puffing out smoke through her lips. The valuation is completed. Would you like to check the figure now? Sure. Yep, that'll do. Then I'll be taking it all. The recycling worker takes out a shackle and reset device. Dread fills as she stumbles up to Miss Catherine. I beg you, please give me a chance. I've been practicing a lot more in the last few days. My skills in psychological warfare still need honing, but I am now an expert in cheating and poker. Miss Catherine is still flashing an enigmatic smile. This has nothing to do with your ability. I simply have no more use for you. What do you mean? Physical gambling has been basically gone out of fashion. The gambling addicts have all moved online. Online gambling makes it much easier for them to conceal their identity and money flow. Which means the stuff you've been practicing is now totally pointless. And you are now worthless to me. The cold shackle is fastened around her neck, and she is dragged towards the door. It baffles her that all the effort she has put in since her creation can be dismissed by just as few simple words. As a doll who knows nothing but how to cheat in poker, she simply cannot wrap her head around this. Betrayed her wrong as a joke. God. Wait, Miss Catherine. Yes, Miss Seance. A slender woman comes up the stairs briskly. Remember how I asked Miss Maggie to tell you that I was looking for a doll partner? Don't tell me you're thinking about this one. She's good with cards, no? Then surely simple tricks like flipping switches and spooking people with cards won't be a challenge for her. I suppose. With a partner, the seance room will have double the capacity, and the revenue it generates will also see a significant increase. Fine, fine. Save your gish galloping for investors. You can take this doll. I'll explain this to Maggie. Thank you, Miss Catherine. After thanking the mistress, the doll named Miss Seance walks up to her. Please release her. Miss Catherine, are we terminating this transaction then? Sorry, it's called off for now, but I'll still pay you the visiting fee. The shackle is undone. Even though she has only been restrained for a few short minutes, she now understands how precious freedom is. Let's go, Miss Poker. You've got a lot of new things to learn. Miss Poker? Yep, poker's all you know, so that makes you Miss Poker. Understood. I am Miss Poker. Quite the upside one, aren't you? As she follows behind the chuckling Miss Seance on her way to her new room, it suddenly occurs to her. I know of my very own name. Miss Poker has always been a little slow on the uptake. It also takes a very long time to figure out why Miss Seance decided to save her. Moon River. The Seance Room. It is currently out of business hours. The candles are unlit in the vast and empty room. Sitting cross-legged on the floor, Miss Seance swirls the cheap liquor in a glass. You remember everything I just told you? Yes. Would you like me to repeat it? Nah. Miss Seance takes a sip from a glass and savours the spiciness of the flavour of the liquor. A little surprised at what makes Seances so eerie and enthralling. I understand. I'll watch your cues and act accordingly. Splendid. Then I'll be counting on you, Miss Poker. Miss Seance stows her wine and a glass away and swaggers up to the door. She lights the candles along the way. Oh, right. Do you have any further instructions for me? Miss Seance turns around and winks at her mischievously. Don't tell the mistress about my drinking. Understood. While Miss Seance is away getting dressed and applying her makeup, Miss Poker conceals herself in the dark and waits silently for the customers of the day. Oh, shit. Bumped my mic. Several minutes later, the door opens again. Miss Seance leads a sad woman into the candlelit room. Please, take a seat, madame. Miss Seance shoots Miss Poker a look, telling her to get ready. Is it really possible to converse with the dead here? Very much so. What do I have to do? Please, place your index finger on this planchette. The woman does as she is told and puts a finger on the planchette shaped like a teardrop. Miss Seance does the same. She moves the planchette to the center of the Ouija board, away from all the numbers and letters on the Ouija board. Are you ready? Do it. I shall begin the seance then. O wandering spirits, heed my heart and answer my summon. Hearing a cue, Miss Poker throws a card. The dim and flickering candlelight is extinguished. Don't be afraid, I need you to focus on saying the prayer with me. You will only receive an answer if you pray with sincerity. I understand. O wandering spirits, this lady's beloved has gone missing. Please heed her question. Pose your question, madam. Please tell me, where's my beloved? The planchette starts sliding across the Ouija board. As it moves from letter to letter, the answer soon becomes apparent. Not far. So your beloved is still close by. Then how do I find him? Please direct your question reverently to the Ouija board. Just so you know, I only have enough spiritual power for 3 questions. Right. Could you please tell me how I can find my beloved? The planchette moves slowly across the Ouija board again. Wait. I've been waiting for so long, I'm starting to lose hope. Will he really come back to me? I don't even know if he still loves me. The planchette slowly glides towards... Yes. An answer in the affirmative. Really? Despite the positive answer, the lady does not seem particularly comforted. She looks just as dejected as she did when she first entered the room. Miss Seance glances at Miss Poker. Madam, I can sense that the spirits in this room still have a message for you. What is it? Miss Poker knows that she's up again. Miss Seance has given her free rein over what to do in this part of the session, which means she gets to decide what response to give. Miss Poker gazes at the woman's melancholic profile and looks down at a deck of cards. Oh, the spirits have offered the final hint. Playing card shoots through the air and starts drifting slowly down from above the woman's head. It lands in front of her like a nimble butterfly. Queen of Diamonds? Madam, do you know the story of the Queen of Diamonds? No, what story can a playing card have? The woman depicted on the Queen of Diamonds is Rachel, a beautiful and hard-working young lady. The spirits want me to be like Rachel? Please allow me to finish. Rachel had a faithful lover, but her father would only allow him to marry her if she worked for him for 7 years. 7 years later, Rachel's father changed his mind again. He had told Rachel's lover that he could marry Rachel in 7 days, but only if he worked for him for another 7 years. Rachel's lover agreed and worked for Rachel's father for 7 more years after marrying Rachel. This Rachel was very lucky to have such a faithful lover. Legend has it Rachel and the lover remained in love throughout their lives, but I believe there must have been moments when they felt lost and hopeless. Rachel chose to have faith in a lover and waited for him to make his choice. A glimmer of hope has been kindled in the woman's sad eyes. Let's see. I will keep waiting and give him some more time. Very well. Then let us conclude the seance. We thank the spirits for giving us answers we seek. Please return to your own. The planchette slowly glides towards goodbye. A few minutes later, Miss Seance returns to the seance room for a break after escorting the customer on her way out. Miss Poker also comes out from the shadows and sits down on the cold floor like Miss Seance. Oh my, another job well done. You've really got talents. You did such a fantastic job the woman ended up spending quite a lot afterwards. Miss Seance takes out a hidden wine glass and takes a cheerful sip. Ah, that hit the spot. Why are you being so quiet? Why didn't you finish Rachel's story just now? There was no need. Humans only ever want to hear what they want to hear. These are customers looking to spend with us, so it is naturally our job to make them happy. I understand. I'll remember that. Miss Pilker starts jotting it down solemnly. Relax. You don't have to take everything so seriously. I don't understand. As the Mistress Dolls, we are always at the risk of being discarded. Are you not afraid, Miss Seance? All dolls are afraid of being abandoned. Then why do you... Miss Poker's gaze falls on the wine glass in Miss Seance's hand. Oh, this? If you want to know, why don't you give it a try yourself? Reflected in the low-quality liquor, Miss Seance's smile seems both dangerous and alluring. Compelled by some unknown forces, Miss Poker reaches out to take the glass. By the time Miss Poker comes to, it's already way past midnight. She's lying in a repair pod. Her neurocloud feels like it's been pulverized by 100 hammers. Hey, you're awake? How long have I been sleeping? About 5 hours, or 6? Maybe 7 or 8? Don't worry, Miss Sands told the mistresses that you fell down the stairs and hit your head in eagerness to do your job. And they didn't say anything? Obviously, or you'd have been sold off before you even woke up. Miss Pachinko, who's in the middle of removing her makeup, suddenly stops what she's doing and sits down by Miss Poker's repair pod. Hey, seeing that we're roommates, let me give you some friendly advice. Yes? Don't trust Miss Seance. Why? Miss Poker stares uncomprehendingly at Miss Pachinko's half-removed drawn-on eyebrow. Why? Because she can't be trusted, duh. From my experience working with her, she seems quite dependable. Then how did you end up in the repair pod? It's more... Miss Poker suddenly remembers what Miss Seance asked of her and stops talking mid-sentence. After making sure none of the other dolls in the dorm are listening in, Miss Pachinko leans forward and whispers conspiratorially into Miss Poker's ear. Do you know about Miss Seance's secret? What secret? Look around this house. All the dolls in the mistress's employment are here. Except her, I guess. But Miss Seance has never set foot in here. I believe she lives in the seance room. It is probably more convenient for her work. Look at Miss Tour Guide. She lives here even though her daily commute is 3 hours. So what gives Miss Seance the right to live all by herself in the seance room, which is only a 15-minute walk from here? Seeing that Miss Poker has nothing to say, Miss Pachinko bats the fake eyelashes still glued to her eyelids and lowers her voice. As you know, the dolls in this house have a really high turnover. We're always in danger of being thrown out. I know. I know that only too well. But Miss Seance doesn't seem at all concerned about this. She has the mistress's trust. Just think about it. Why is she so favored? Because she brings a lot more profit than the rest of us? Miss Pachinko scoffs in an exaggerated manner. You're so naive, Miss Poker. This is Miss Seance's secret. It's hidden in a room. How did she manage to win the mistress's trust and get this kind of special treatment? Don't you want to know? The secret trick that will save you from getting the boots? As the mistress of dolls, we are always at risk of being discarded. Are you not afraid, Miss Seance? All dolls are afraid of being abandoned. Then why do you... Oh, this? If you want to know, why do you try it for yourself? I do want to know. Gazing at Miss Pachinko's patchy makeup, Miss Poker replies softly. I want to know. I don't want to be discarded. A few days later in the seance room. After closing up for the day, Miss Seance and Miss Poker tidy up the room. Good work as always. See you tomorrow, Miss Poker. As usual, Miss Seance walks Miss Poker out the door. Yes, Miss Seance. See you tomorrow. A moment later, Miss Poker, who has been crouching outside and observing the room, climbs inside through the window. Miss Seance? The silent room is utterly still. After making sure that Miss Seance isn't around, Miss Poker sneaks up the stairs and into her room on the second floor. Miss Seance's bedroom. The lock is not at all secure. Miss Poker manages to dislodge it with just a playing card. The room is only minimally furnished with a modest bed, a wooden chair, a small fridge, and a coffee table. The floor is littered with liquor bottles. Miss Poker peers over at Miss Seance, who is lying spread eagle on the bed, seemingly asleep. After some thought, Miss Poker musters her courage and pushes open the door. She sits down by Miss Seance's bed. Miss Seance, I'm very sorry for entering your room without your permission, but I simply have too many questions. If I don't get any answers, I'm afraid they'll affect our working relationship. Miss Seance is still sound asleep. Miss Seance, please wake up. Miss Poker taps Miss Seance light on the face, but she gives no reaction. Miss Seance is usually very responsive, so this is uncharacteristic. Lack of response is giving Miss Poker a very bad feeling. She probably inspects the status of her neuroclouds, and is surprised to find that Miss Seance has actually crashed. What happened, Miss Seance? Hang in there. I'm taking you to the repair bay. Miss Poker hoists the unconscious Miss Seance over her shoulders and trudges out the door with great difficulty. Standing at the top of the long flight of stairs, Miss Poker jostles Miss Seance's weight helplessly, not quite sure what to do. Sorry, Miss Seance, I really can't carry you. The only way to bring you to the repair bay is this. She carefully sets Miss Seance down the stairs, then patting out her most vulnerable parts, she slowly drags her down the stairs. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Miss Seance's body produces a sharp clang as she lands on every stair step. What are you doing? Finally awake! That's such a relief, Miss Seance. I was so worried you wouldn't wake up again. In a relief, Miss Poker loosens her grip and Miss Seance rolls down the last few steps and hits the floor. Thunk. Miss Seance finally comes to a stop with a crash. It seems to me you're actively trying to make sure I never wake up again. No, your neurocloud crashed just now. I thought you had some kind of malfunction, so I wanted to take you to the repair bay. How do you know my neurocloud crashed? Miss Seance sits up cross-legged. Rubbing a sore crown, she peers at the flustered Miss Poker with some amusement. I trespassed into your room. I'm sorry. What were you doing in my room after hours? Miss Poker sits down next to Miss Seance in silence. I wanted to ask you some questions. Let me guess. Someone's been talking. Yes. Fetch me something to drink first. I'm also after you drag me down the stairs. Miss Poker runs off and comes back with a glass of liquor apologetically. Ask away. What do you want to know? I once asked you whether or not you were afraid of being abandoned by the mistresses. I want to know the reason why the mistresses would not get rid of you. You just saw it. When? Literally just now. My neurocloud crashed, right? I was taking care of some business for the mistress, but I crashed for a bit because the processing load was too much. If you're wondering what kind of business it was, then I'm afraid I can't tell you. I see. Miss Seance downs the liquor in one go and exhales in satisfaction. The spicy scent of alcohol instantly fills the air. This is my so-called secret. Disappointed? Miss Seance? Let's make a deal. Oh, when you pick up this trick? Observe someone, find their weakness, then exploit it using the most cost-effective method. You taught me that, didn't you? Go on. The mistresses are willing to give you separate lodging to protect your body, right? Because you're not capable of keeping your body safe while you're carrying out your tasks. Correct. But even in the separate room, if somebody like me barges in, you're still in grave danger. So, hire me to guard your body. Miss Seance fiddles with the empty glass and smiles thoughtfully. Why should I trust you? How do I know you're not trying to get rid of me? I need you. Without you, the mistresses won't think twice about tossing me away. I thought you were going to say that you're doing this to repay me for saving your life. We're not like that human woman who came seeking reassurance. Those who are constantly struggling to survive will never be fooled by fanciful words. We can always see the ugly, twisted truth behind this thin facade and illusory goodness. So you'd rather just tear off this facade than dump a bombshell on me? I think this transaction will work very much to your benefit, Miss Seance. Nothing has to change. You don't have to pay me extra, but you will gain more personal safety. That is honestly a very good deal. And, admittedly, there does seem to be some people that are suspicious of her, and maybe that'll end up being less ideal. So, let us continue. Indeed. With a grin, Miss Seance fishes out another bottle and glass, and then pours some liquor into the 2 glasses. I like it. Let's drink to a deal. Miss Poker picks up both glasses. She opens the window and pours away the liquid mercilessly. Hey, what the hell? While I was expecting you earlier, I found out that you actually have very low alcohol tolerance. Consuming too much alcohol is very bad for your body. I need the stuff to get into the right headspace for work. Yeah, I figured as much. From now on, you're only allowed to drink after you're done with the job. Are you the devil? Miss Poker pours out 2 glasses of ginger ale stoically and passes the one to Miss Seance. This is much tastier than your booze. Let's toast with this instead. I'm already regretting this deal. Too late. Miss Poker clinks a glass against... Oops. Miss Poker clinks a glass against Miss Seance and knocks back a ginger ale. Ah, that hits the spot. Sassy lost child. I do like her. She's quite entertaining. I do have to say. Starry nights. The Seance room. It's a sunny afternoon, a perfect day for business. But Miss Seance and Miss Poker are both sitting on the floor and staring out the window absent-mindedly. How many days has it been since that? 7. Still any news from the mistresses? Nope. Miss Seance stretches her back and slowly lies down on the floor. I hear the doll of the newer models have already jumped ships. Jumped ship. Yeah, they said the mistresses wouldn't be coming back. What about you? Got any plans for yourself? I don't know. I'm such an antique, I don't know what I could do even if I managed to get away. Same here. Silence hangs in the air once more. They have been having the same pointless conversation for days since the mistress's disappearance. Some of the dolls, those of the newer models, have already caught the scent of danger and fled, but most of the dolls are still here, completely at a loss as to what to do. Let's get everyone gathered here. It's better than trying to figure things out on our own. Right. Day 14. The usually quiet science room has been growing lively in the last few days. Almost all the remaining dolls have moved in. Some of the more resourceful dolls have even brought along some appliances that are still usable from the old dormitory. Who the hell brought our old signboard here? Miss Seance points at the Fox Sisterhood signboard currently lying on the floor and looks accusingly at the busy crowd. They probably thought this would foster a sense of belonging. Ha! Miss Seance breaks the signboard with a vicious stomp. Ignoring the other doll's outraged gasps, she smashes every letter on the board with her heel. After laying waste to the signboard, she lets out this long sigh, as if a heavy weight just rolled off her. We're free. We shouldn't let such things shackle us anymore. You're right. Free. We're free! Although the dolls don't quite fully comprehend what it means to be free, they embrace each other and cheer emotionally. Day 21. An old television is playing the news, but both the visual and sound qualities are very poor because of the obsolete model. Still, the dolls are not at all bothered as they huddle before the machine, watching the news raptly. I didn't know the war has such a widespread impact. Yeah, a lot of people have died because of the contamination keeps spreading. Things are looking really bad out there. I wonder how the mistresses are doing. You're not still dreaming about them coming back for us, are you? No. Miss Poker looks at Miss Seance. Whether it's the mistresses or the dolls who ran away, I hope they're all okay. We should worry about ourselves first. It may still seem very far away, but it will affect us sooner or later. No one is safe from this catastrophe. Miss Sean sips her ginger ale somberly. Miss Poke has never been seen her so troubled. 3 years have passed. Miss Poke sits down at Miss Pachinko's bedside. Using a handkerchief, she gently wipes down the grime off Miss Pachinko's face, but this only serves to make the damage more prominent and horrific. Give me a mirror. You don't need one. You're really pretty, alright? Let me see. I might need some touch-up. Your makeup is flawless. Nothing has budged. Really? You're telling the truth? Cross my heart. Good. I don't want to be like them. I don't want to turn into Frankenstein, then die a pitiful death. You're beautiful, as always. Good. I'm glad. With a contented smile, Miss Pachinko Neurocloud sees us running. With a light sigh, Miss Sean sits down next to Miss Poker. Didn't you once say to me that the dolls like us had no need for white lies? I did. But I just had to lie to her. I wanted her to believe it just for a few minutes. Only a small handful of dolls are left in the Sean's room. In this post-war dystopia, there are no better commodities than dolls with no owners. Perhaps it's time we left this place behind. In the fourth year. After procuring some parts at a shop, Miss Poker quickly darts into a side alley. She shakes off her pursuer skillfully and returns to Miss Seance, who is hiding behind the abandoned garbage dump. He should do the job. Miss Poker replaces Miss Seance's broken parts within ones that she has just bought. Well, can you walk? Miss Seance stretches her leg despondently. She can bend and rotate her knees again. Phew, this is great. You can now walk again. What's wrong with you? Miss Poker waves her hand in front of Miss Seance's face. Have you lost your sight? No, my vision audio is fine. Then why are you so quiet? Are you still thinking about what happened to Miss Tour Guide? It happened right in front of me on that street. In broad daylight, she was just... Enough. Stop thinking about that. Your body cannot cope with such neural fluctuations. There was nothing we could do. But she got torn apart by the thugs just like that. They dismembered her so brutally, then sold her parts. Stop it. The screams were so piteous. The way she looked at me. There's nothing we could do to save her. Two old and battered dolls are no match for those thugs. She kept looking at me. Whenever I close my eyes, I can see her. Miss Seance collapses onto the ground. Seance? Miss Seance! Miss Poker shakes Miss Seance frantically, but she gives no response. Damn, that is... I don't even know how to react to that, I'll be honest. No, this is happening right as the war is going on, / right after the war, so... Yeah. Yeah. I need to drink something real quick, though. I see. Sorry for that. I just noticed a whole bunch of notifications in Discord, and apparently somebody in some other Discord that I'm in has been hijacked, and there was a lot of pigs. Where am I? How long have I been out? Miss Seance sits up in bed groggily. Ben? She's been sleeping on something as luxurious as a bed? Miss Seance caresses the bedding incredulously. It's very soft, outrageously so. You're awake. An impish face comes into view. It's poker. It was no easy feat getting you fixed. And you gotta get on your knees and kiss my feet to show your gratitude. Since when were you so obnoxious? Hey, that's no way to speak to your savior. Miss Amster gets to her feet and takes in the modestly sized room. It's rather crude and simple, but at least there's a roof above their heads. Zagaki. What happened while I was sleeping? Nothing special. Just been trying to make ends meet. How long have I been sleeping? Let me see. It will have been a full year in 7 days. Miss Ants notices that Miss Poker's body's in much poorer condition, and when she last saw her, there's no way she could have gotten so banged up with just a year of normal wear and tear. What have you done to your own body? I pulled up some parts that I could spare to repair you, then... Miss Poker turns away and pauses briefly. I sold my card sharp module. Who would have known, eh? Physical gambling has made a comeback, so my cheating skills as a card sharp were pretty sought after. I managed to sell the module for a really good price. Well. What? Don't believe me? I do. After all, I told you everything about doing business. The only downside is, I can't help you with your seances anymore. That's okay. Miss Seance takes Miss Poker's hands, which still bear the many scars from practicing cardistry. We will cook up bigger, more sophisticated scams. We won't need to perform petty parlor tricks like doing fake seances ever again. Sure. Probably got a brilliant idea. From now on, my name is Maggie Ponzi, and yours is Catherine Ponzi. Huh? Aren't these the mistress's names? I'm sure they wouldn't mind. In fact, they'd probably be glad for the great things we'll do in the names. Then, pleasure to meet you, Maggie. Pleasure's mine, Catherine. That one was short. So, Catherine has been looking after Maggie, repairing her steadily for literally a year. Damn. Well, there's only really one bit of story left here. I don't know how long it'll be. Pavel. In the Siberian wilderness. Maintenance work on the Siberian Lifeline Railway is complete, and the human supervisors have vanished into the distance, leaving the last batch of railway droids adrift in the wind and snow. Where should we go? For the 9th time, a railway droid mutters those words to a dimmed light inside his little shack. All I know is that if we don't leave, the recycling party that comes by later will write us off. Recycling party. Those were the words that the human supervisors had said before they left. They were probably warning the railway droids who were left behind that if they didn't find another job soon, they would be brought to the recycling plant and scrapped. But they've been stranded here for several days, and they haven't yet seen this legendary recycling party. It would be good to be recycled. At the very least, we wouldn't need to sit here thinking about where we ought to go next. I don't want to be written off here. What about you, Bookworm? The railway droid called Bookworm puts his book down and slowly raises his head. I once read in a book that if you meet your fated rose, then once you look up at the starry sky, you'll find that all the stars in the heaven look like that rose. Rose? Is it some kind of virus that destroys your visual modules? I just looked it up. It's a plant that is harmless to us. Then why can it turn stars into roses? I don't know, but I want to find the answer. 612 looks up into the black night sky. Due to the excessive contamination, the stars are not visible from here, but it was said that many years ago the stars here were numerous and bright. Where are you going? I'm going on a journey tomorrow. I'll go all the way west to Warsaw. Where's Warsaw? 612 takes out an old map. From the current position, he will need to cross pretty much the entire continent before reaching Warsaw. It's so far away. Are you planning to walk along the Siberian Lifeline? Yes, Warsaw's the furthest stop I can reach. Once again, that is all that is left in the world is the sound of billowing snowstorms and the crunching of branches being trampled underfoot. Don't go. Stay here with us. Human cities are too dangerous. They'll do terrible things to you. You may end up disappointed in by what you see. I know. Even if I can't get on the train and go to Warsaw, I probably won't find what I seek. 612's head-mounted lamp flashes briefly, then a gentle wink, but it also seems to signal a sorrow for having to say goodbye. But I still want to see it. After all, there's nothing here. No flowers and no roses. I hope that when I am recycled, I'll be able to see roses in the night sky. Well, if you've made up your minds. A hand pats 612 on the shoulder. Let us share this last night together. Morning on the next day. 612 packs his pitifully scarce belongings into a backpack and prepares to set out towards the train station. What's this? It's for you. 634 places a small bag in 612's pack. It contains rocks that 634 has collected in his spare time. Aren't these rocks your prized possessions? 590 and I are going to the recycling stations to be written off. The human supervisor said that these rocks serve for a lot outside, so they'll be of use to you. Thank you. I'll take care of them. Goodbye, 612. Goodbye. 612 walks off toward the train station by himself. Along the way, he looks back. 590's and 634's figures look small, like two tree stumps protruding out of the snow, but unlike trees, when spring comes next year, they'll not wake up again. Several days later, at Warszawa Centralna railway station. 612 gets off the train with his pack on his back. The passengers steam towards the exit, each heading off to their respective destinations. Only 612 stands rooted to the spot. He looks toward the stewardess off to the side. Hello. The stewardess responds with a smile, but when she takes in 612's appearance, a look of disgust crosses her face. You've gotten off the train. I have no obligation to serve you. I just wanted to ask, where can I see roses in Warsaw? Roses? Go search up a few pictures on the net and find out for yourself. The stewardess walks off, leaving 612 alone on the empty platform. Oh, that's rude. Fair but rude. I want to find a real rose, one that makes me think of it when I look at the starry sky. As he mutters to himself, he slowly walks out of the station. Sometime later in the suburbs of Warsaw, 612 sits dejectedly by the side of the road. He's been looking for several hours, but all the people he has asked have either ignored him or responded with mockery. Finally, 612 comes to a conclusion. There are no roses here. I should have known. The rose in the book was a fragile thing that had to be protected from the outside world with a glass cover. Such a fragile entity could not possibly exist here. The streets below 612's feet reek with combined stench of rotten food, fermented droppings, and other indiscernible smells. The people on the streets shamble along like aimless walking corpses, merely living pointlessly. 612 looks down. After working for long years in the contaminated zones, his body is covered in dents and cracks too. Perhaps he also looks like a walking corpse in the eyes of others. There are no roses here. No roses exist in any of the places I can travel to. He looks up at the night sky. His neck parts makes a screeching noise from rust. There's nothing in the murky dark sky. There are no stars here either. His light goes dim. I've done everything I wanted to do. I suppose it's all the time I went to the recycling station. 612 rises ponderously and makes for the Doll recycling station in Warsaw. Outside the Doll recycling station, 612 undergoes a chassis inspection. The recycling worker stares at the underwhelming numbers with a deep frown. It's such a mess that there's no point recycling you. I'm sorry. 612 stands motionlessly before the scanning instrument, thinking about his days working on the railroad with his friends. Back then, he would often stare at the furthest reaches of the seemingly endless railroad, wondering what sort of machine would travel along the tracks. Today, he found the answer. He boarded a train that was like a gargantuan steel beast, and the tracks that countless railway droids have toiled over flew past him. His heart swelled, but nobody could share his feelings, because nobody in the train knew exactly how these tracks had been fixed. Raise your arms. Alright. 612 obediently raises his arms. Over the head of the recycling worker, he sees a girl stumble out of an alley and slip into a muddy puddle. The girl's face is pale and she looks undernourished. Her skinny body is hidden under baggy coats, like a withered flower like a withered flower that could be crushed to bits by just a squeeze. Someone is hurt. The recycling worker looks back absent-mindedly, then continues with what he's doing. Several street thugs come running out of the alley. They curse and shout as they pull the girl's hair and drag her into the darkness. The girl, she needs help. Mind your own business. 612 watches quietly as the girl cries for help. She leaves a twisted trail on the ground. This fragile little life is about to be harmed by the terrible things outside the glass cover while everyone else just looks on. He gently pushes the worker aside and walks out of the recycling station. What's with you? My apologies. I do not wish to be recycled for now. The worker curses from behind him, but 612 does not look back at and heads towards the girl. Inside the dark alley, 612 has chased away the thugs with his wrench and his tough body. The girl sits on the ground in a daze, still trying to process what just happened. Who are you? The girl struggles to her feet. Her beautiful clear eyes have no focus and no life to them. 612 wonders how he should explain his identity to a juvenile human. Pavel? Is that you? Pavel? Can she not see what I look like? The girl calls out and walks shakily forward. The hand she reaches out is fragile and frantic, as though she's feeling for the final ray of light in her life, trying to keep it from fading. 612 hesitates for a moment, and then he holds out his wrench so the girl can so she can steady herself with it. Why didn't you say something, Pavel? Is that you? It's me, Pavel. It's not, though. Shouldn't you be able to tell by the voice that it's not Pavel? Death and the Maiden. A choppy voice pierces the darkness and reaches me. It's me, Pavel. Pavel? I squeeze the object in my hands. It's a warm hand, but it isn't a warm hand, but a block of cold metal. Cold like a dead body that has lost its warmth. Thank goodness he's still here. Where should we go next? You don't look well. I think you need to charge to replenish your... Yes, I have done the doctor's logs. This is basically the last one that I need to do. This is the last ones. Honestly, I was rather surprised at how tragic Catherine's is. Like, yeah, the doctor was tragic, but he basically did it to himself, to a point. Not necessarily. I mean, the end makes it a little bit less tragic. But in general, it is fairly tragic. To get something to eat, yes, to eat something. You're right, I am a little hungry. Wait here for me. I'll go find some food. His voice is so gentle, yet so careful, yet so reassuring. I obediently sit down in the corner he has cleared for me, and I hear the sound of paper rustling. I think he's built a little fort for me? Fragile rose. It's a protection of a glass case. He mutters to himself as he heads off. As I sit in the warm darkness, I recall the past in the cabinet that once made me feel safe. Bell Orphanage, Bremen. Bang. Something hard hits the ground behind me with a loud crash, followed by the wicked laughter of children. I didn't dare speak or even look back. All I could do was follow the path I remembered and felt my way across the wall as I ran towards my safe space. Come on, blind girl! I'll cure you! Curled up in the tiny cabinet. This was a place that only I knew about. It was roughly in the right corner of the warehouse, and very hard to find, owing to all the piled up stuff blocking it from view. Come on out, I'm running low on patience. Forget it, Lena. That blind girl must be wetting herself in a corner somewhere. Let's wait outside the door. When she comes out, we'll give her a surprise. They laughed loudly as they walked out of the warehouse, but I couldn't tell if they were lying in wait at the doorway or if they had lost interest and left. Therefore, I could only cower in the cabinet and wait for time to go by. Someone was moving the cardboard. Is there a rack picker? I hacked myself tightly by reflex. I found you some food. I'm not sure if you can eat it. An object giving off an appetizing aroma is held before my face, and I eagerly grab it and eat it. I try to recall when I last ate. It must have been about 3 days ago when I happened to find a piece of cold bread by the road. Take it easy. Nobody's taking it from you. Thank you. It's the sound of rusted parts rubbing against each other. Then I sense him sitting beside me, though he's still keeping a distance from me. Don't you want some? I've eaten. I swallow a big mouthful of foods, and then the warm sensation fills me with comfort and security, to the point where I almost cry. Many times in my heart, I've questioned the parents that I had never met. Why have you brought me into such a world? But this warm food alone has me briefly put aside my resentment and give thanks that I am alive. Bellabend, Bremen. After huddling inside the cabinet for who knows how long, I ended up falling asleep. A gentle knocking woke me. I figured you'd be here. I reached out into the darkness when a warm hand took mine and held it up against her face. A face that I knew very, very well. Rosita. I was about to say something when a small piece of bread was stuffed into my hands. This was the dinner that the orphanage would give us every day, but she'd given it all to me. The warmth of her palms was both kind and reassuring. I bet you haven't eaten all day, right? You must be starving. Thank you. I wolfed down the bread in a few mouthfuls. Rosita then joined me in the cabinet. I could feel her warmth pressed against my body, putting me at ease. Say, you should give yourself a name. Calling you by a number just feels weird. Especially when I'm looking for you. I think a number is pretty good. Fine. The other children had told me that names are given by one's parents, and nobody gives you a name, then even if you take one for yourself, it's not really a name. Oh yes, I've got some good news for you. What is it? House mother says I can go into the sweet dream box. Why does that sound like a coffin? Rosita's breath fills my ear with warmth, but it fills my heart with icy dread. You mustn't go into the box. Why? All the kids here want to go. House mother once said that when you enter the sweet dreams box, your wishes will come true. It's a scary thing. Why do you say that? It's not like you've gone inside before. Told you, right? I once overheard what my house mother said. When I heard the kids inside the sweet dream box, their screams were so awful. There must have been some misunderstanding. Rosita crawls out of the cabin and grabs my hand to help me out. No more talking about the sweet dream box. You know I've been waiting for a long time for this day. I wonder if they're talking about the experiment that is happening at the doctor's behalf. But any more and I'll get mad. All I could do was to keep quiet and follow Rosita back to my room. After finishing up all the food he got for me, I leaned against the wall in satisfaction. Where do you come from? I do not understand. It's alright, I know you're not Pavel. He would never have given me food. I reach out in his direction, but everything I touch is hard metal, with no soft parts. All I can do is try my hardest to imagine what he might look like. I came from the Siberian wastes. Where's that? Far, far away from Warsaw. I had to take the intercontinental train to come to Warsaw. The intercontinental train? It's like a huge serpentine beast made of steel with long carriages. Wow, how does it move? It runs at great speed over the rails. What's wrong? My friends and I have been working to repair the rails on the Siberian plains all these years. So I find it very hard to describe how I felt when I rode the intercontinental train that went over these rails. It's amazing. You've done something incredible. Something incredible. How about you then? Where did you come from? Came from the burial orphanage in Bremen. I'm trying to get back there. An orphanage. Why do you want to go back there? I have a friend who's waiting for me there. I need to find her. Feel around in my pocket and find the slip of paper that Rosita had sewn into it. The one with an address on it. I breathe a sigh of relief as I find that it's still there. Can you tell me about her? Of course. Berlöfen, Bremen. The day when Rosita would enter the Sweet Dreams box was coming soon. With a heavy heart, I arranged to meet her and for a chat in the cabinet one last time. She came at the agreed time. I had her light footsteps had come to a stop in front of the cabinet, and then she opened the door to climb inside. Huh? Why aren't you in here? I pushed her into the cabinet and wedged the door shut with a broom. What are you doing? I'm sorry. Rosita exploded into a startling wail, and the cabinet door rattled frantically as she pounded it with her little fists. I backed out of the warehouse, and her cries faded away as I closed the door. I was sure Housemother would find her by dinner time. I'm sorry, Rosita. I felt my way around Rosita's room and climbed into the Sweet Dreams box I had placed there. By the time I woke up, I had no idea where I was. A cold voice spoke by my ear. Next, Rosita, aged 11. Yeah. Yeah, that's the box that takes them to the experimentation thing that gets them killed. My heart beat raced with nervous heat every time the cold instruments pressed against my body. Dr. Rogosa, this girl doesn't match her information. There's something wrong with her eyes. Never mind, let's not waste time. If other organs are fine, then send her in. Send me in, but where to? Is he a doctor? Will he cure my eyes? My mind began to wander nervously as I lay on the cold, hard slab. My memories of what happened next are a jumbled mess. I couldn't understand what was done to me. All I could feel was the endless pain. In my mind, the countless gleaming needles grew larger and larger in an endless sea of darkness. A vortex of pain surrounded me, and my consciousness was peeled away, reawakened and peeled away again, like a bleeding wound that was repeatedly opened up, drowning me in an abyss of eternal wails. I screamed and struggled with all my might, until all the words I could think of lost their meaning, and only Rosita's resentful cries echoed in my ears. I don't know how long it was until I was aware of my surroundings again. The place around me seemed to have changed, and all I could hear was the roar of machinery, while all I could smell was a horrible rotting stench. Hey, still alive? What is this place? Who are you? This is the garbage dump. I'm Pavel, the supervisor here. The garbage dump. Experimental rejects like you all get dumped here. I was missing a helper, and since you were still breathing, I dug you out. Well, you don't just stand around. Help me move the corpses. Yeah, they all get killed. And she... I don't know if she saved Rosita, but Pavel didn't wait for an answer and walked off. All I could do was follow the sound of his footsteps. The ground below my feet was uneven, and I tripped over things every now and then. Soon, Pavel noticed. You're not blind, are you? God damn it, I found a live one at last, but it's still trash. He angrily picked me up and dumped me into the boot of a car. The rear hatch slams down. Just as I was about to pass out from lack of air, the boot was finally opened and I greedily inhaled the fresh air. This is it? Take it. What? Before I could figure out what was going on, several hands grabbed me and roughly dragged me off the car. I sensed danger, so instinctively struggled free and ran upwind. I had gunshots and Pavel's screams, but I couldn't look back. All I could do was run forward with all my might. Fortunately, I met this Pavel. He doesn't want to hurt me, he even gave me food. It's a long, long story. I'll tell you after I wake up. Sure. Perhaps it's because I've exerted myself too much today, but I feel a little giddy and my body is light, as though I'm going to become a little balloon at any moment and fly off into the sky. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm just a little tired. What are these marks on your body? You look like you're sick. Sorry, I forgot you can't see. It's alright. I'll just sleep for a bit. I slowly curl up against Pavel's leg and drift off into dreamland. As I'm about to fall asleep, I remember that I haven't told Pavel. My name is Rosita. It's not my real name, but I don't have any others. Then I'll be Pavel. It doesn't matter what our names are. You are you, and I am I. I laugh, and then my dreams enfold me. Man. Ah. Salute no more. In the suburbs of Warsaw, Rosita's asleep, her little head leaning against Pavel's leg. Pavel is at a loss for what to do next. He stays put, not daring to move. She is severely malnourished, both light and skinny, and this feels like as though she might disappear into the wind if he just moved her a little. What are these marks? The other humans don't have these. As he looks at the strange marks on Rosita's arms, a feeling of unease fills Pavel. He opens a simple search engine and starts searching up the characteristics of those marks. Several seconds later, he gets an answer. Elids. Yurovsky low-emission infectious disease. Pavel remembers what his human supervisor said while working on the Siberian wastes. I'm not going in there. Only you Tinkins can survive down there. Humans who go out there will become Elids in minutes. At that point, you wouldn't be even able to board the... at that point, you wouldn't even be let aboard the train, so, to say nothing of getting home. It would seem that there's a very infectious and very dangerous disease for humans. Pavel's heart aches as she looks down at Rosita, who is sound asleep. He looks at her like he was looking at a pitiful rose that had been removed from its case and is gnawed by maggots. He wants to do something for Rosita. After all, she's the first human he has seen after so long that made him feel that roses might exist. The Galatea Corporation has just released a new anti-Elid wonder drug, Idun, which is both cheap and effective. The drug labs under Galatea have been shut down. As piece after piece of Elid-related news streams past his eyes, his heart rises and falls like a roller coaster. If I could go to Berlin, then I might be able to find a cure. How do humans heal their damaged bodies? Do they have some kind of human-specific machine oil? Is Idun their hope for treatment? Pavel notes down his thoughts in his neural cloud and decides to take Rosita to Berlin for treatment, and then to Bremen to find Berle orphanage. Pavel? I had a dream where I went home. Yeah, I'll send you home. Rosita rubs her sleepy eyes and slowly sits up. First we'll go to Berlin, and then to Bremen. But I don't have any money. It's alright, I have some money that I saved up. Pavel looks down at the little bag that the 634 has given him. It's full of little rocks. While he was on the intercontinental train, he learned that it was called the Sardis gold, or the raw form of gold bullion, a form of currency in the human society. Pavel doesn't know if it'll be enough to get Rosita back to Bremen, but he wants to try. We had a scalp on the train. I'll ask her how to buy tickets. Yep, I'll listen to you. Several hours later, Pavel returns to the abandoned house he found. Upon hearing his footsteps, Rosita waves weakly at him. You're back. What's wrong? Pavel drags a massive suitcase over, but doesn't speak. How can you tell Rosita that she can't board the train because she is sick, and she can only sneak aboard in a suitcase? Pavel looks at the blank eyes in the end. He decides to lie to her. I'm sorry, Rosita. I only had enough money for one ticket, so I'm afraid you'll have to suffer a little. It's alright. I'm happy just to be heading home. Okay, let's see if it fits. Pavel opens the suitcase and lays it on the ground, then gently lays Rosita inside. After Pavel closes the suitcase, he hears Rosita giggling inside. What? I remembered my time in the orphanage. I'd always hide in places like this, until she found me. Pavel, tell me a story. I often hear you flipping pages, so tell me about the books you've read. Alright. Pavel sits beside the suitcase, and Rosita curls up quietly inside. Once upon a time, there was a prince that came from an asteroid. His asteroid was small, much, much smaller than our Earth. He was the only person on his asteroid. He lived there with his Rose. Rose? Oh yes, the Rose was a strange one, fragile and sensitive, and she could only survive inside a glass case. In order to protect herself, the Rose sprouted thorns all over herself, but always pricked the prince, who was closest to her. The prince could not bear it, and decided to leave that asteroid and go see the world. I don't think the Rose did it on purpose. Yeah, I agree. After leaving his asteroid and having many adventures, the prince realized that the fragile Rose had simply wanted to embrace him. But because of his thorns, the thorns that she had grown to survive, she couldn't keep herself from hurting him. Did the prince go back and make up with the Rose? Later on, every time the prince looked up at the starry sky, he saw each and every star as that rose. His unique, irreplaceable rose. Rosita's eyes close again, and Pavel pulls a blanket over her. Someone once told me that this world was no longer suitable for fragile roses to live in. But then I found you, so young and small that you hadn't even been able to grow thorns to protect yourself. I want to see you grow proud and strong without having to sprout thorns, so you can embrace your loved ones without harming them. When that time comes, I'll report to the recycling station, and when I do, I'm sure the sky will be filled with roses. Pavel looks at Rosita's sleeping face and imagines the night sky with roses blooming across it. Several days later, aboard the Future, in the second-class carriage. A massive impact flings the suitcase from the baggage rack and throws Rosita out. Rosita! Pavel? The cabin spins over and end over ends, but Pavel's gaze is firmly fixed on Rosita. She's fallen from a glass case again, rolling around in this dangerous world. Once the carriage comes to rest, Pavel rushes to her side. Pavel, I'm fine. Good lord, look, there's an infected here. No wonder the purification system kept going off all this time. We need to get her off the train. Don't touch her! Pavel swings his wrench, an inexplicably courage burning in his heart. Is he insane? I won't let any of you hurt her. Pavel, who's always been docile, suddenly snarls at the humans and dolls around him. The wrench in his hand is no longer just a simple track maintenance tool, but a dragon-slaying sword. But in herself alone, she is more important than all the hundreds of your other roses. And now here's my secret. A very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Behind him is his internal angel. His rose for which there is no substitute. He must fight on for Rosita's sake. Why do you suddenly have something? Hang on a minute. You should be dead. Hold up. Temporary command post, Berlin, Germany. Loading encrypted file. Identity verified. Instructor R of the 7th Directorate Advanced Combat Training Team. Mission verified. Top secret Operation Eclipse. Mission objective, ensure the safe transfer of military command, special authorization, and exclusive comms channel, codenamed Grand Duke. Hello, Griffin Commander. Pleasure to meet you. The escort target is stored in the neurocloud of the doll, designated Irma. Activation key is Ludmilla. I will not let your sacrifice be in vain. I see. Okay. That does make sense. That does make sense. Well... Man, some of those were heavy. Some of those weren't nearly as heavy as the others, like, Nikolai was not nearly as heavy, neither was the one of the Grandma. But man, some of the others? Damn. That was something. Well, in the end, this was the event Longitudonal Strain, or Longitudinal Strain. There is not really any story left. It is only other difficulties for combat maps. So, I know that this is a little early, and this will be a shorter stream than usual, rather than the longer streams that we usually did for the events, so far. But, I think it's a good point to end the stream here, and I'll just be back tomorrow with something else. So, that means that I am going to quickly check who I can raid for today. Because I don't know who's currently live. Let's go and say hello to Artie, who's currently playing Baldur's Gate. Well, thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate you very few people that have actually bothered to watch this. But these few last bits of story really did... Like, they weren't story necessary, apart from the very last one. But at the same time, they did add a lot to the general flavor of the event. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for being here. Have a good night, and I do hope you have a great evening. Bye.